on this edition of Community Insider, our search for Christmas lights and also a look at the Depot Bottom Country Store. We'll take a look inside the store and tell you just what you can eat and the enjoyment you'll have inside your community. That and more coming up on this edition of Community Insider. Stay tuned. Hello, I'm Jonathan Womack, and welcome to this edition of Community Insider as we share some Christmas memories with family, some different ideas of how you can get away with your family and enjoy some much-needed time away from the home, but also creating some long-lasting memories. And you may be watching and you don't have any children, but maybe you have some grandchildren or other family that can get away, get in the car, and enjoy some much-needed time. One of the things that I always loved whenever I was growing up was going to see Christmas lights. Now, they've come a long ways with some outstanding Christmas light displays. We're going to share some of those. One of those spots we're going to take is actually to Chad's Winter Wonderland, which is a great stop for us. Also, we have our second stop, which is the Dancing Lights of Christmas. You're going to enjoy that. We're going to share you the info of how you can find those locations. Most of the viewers, it's within an hour of your driving from your home, and you will enjoy it. So make sure that you stay tuned and watch this edition of Community Insider. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome to this edition of Community Insider as we try to investigate different ways how you can get out and have fun with your family, just some family-oriented things this Christmas. And we have arrived here in Lebanon, Tennessee with Mr. Chad Bernard.
That's correct.
And what is the name of this place?
Chad's Winter Wonderland.
And how long have you been doing this, Chad?
Actually, this is my 36th year, and started it when I was 12. I used to have it basically just drive by, look at it, and actually, in the late 90s, I had a lot of people asking me, you know, how they could see more, and so I opened up a tree lot to help offset some of my costs. And so actually, they put me down the road, across the street from it, and so people are like, we come from Bowling Green, you know, every which direction. So I turned it into a drive-through in 2000, and been doing it ever since.
That's awesome. Now, I was blew away with just the displays that you got. Heartwarming displays. I mean, you have some that you have worked on for years. You've been adding to
right.
Each and every year, and it sort of takes you back. I mean, I was blew away with the country store for one.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
When did you bring that on?
Actually, I built a country store in about probably 10 years ago.
Oh wow. That's
yes,
awesome.
And yeah, a lot of the scenery. I used to have a gentleman in Carthage that made a lot of my wood scenery. And then, you know, I try to come up with ideas, look in coloring books,
Mm-hmm.
and I call him up and say, hey, let's see if we can make this, and he can cut it out and paint it, and then so yeah, I always try to add something new every year too.
Now, you got the old truck sitting beside the country store. Where did you get that at?
Actually, I bought that from a guy off Craigslist, actually, in Linden, Tennessee.
Oh, wow.
And one of my neighbors come through one year, and he said, hey, I've got an old gas pump that looked good, you know, by your little store. So he gave me a gas pump.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so just little stories like that.
Now, you're noticing as we're filming this that there's people just strolling through nonstop. You have several people. What's your number? Do you know the number of people?
Now, I don't really have a good number. Obviously, my Friday and Saturday nights is my big nights, and so I encourage, you know, people to come out and check it out. But we love them Sunday through Thursday for sure.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of times you can see a lot more of the displays during the week. You know, we can drive a little slower,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. So.
And I think this is an awesome opportunity. By the way, at the bottom of the screen, you'll be able to see the address, the location of how you can get here, because most of you guys that's watching, it's within an hour away. You can come up here, bring your family, bring your church group. It's a great outing from the youth to the children. And that's one thing I'm going to say. I noticed before we even pulled in the driveway, you know the meaning of the season, and
right.
You don't hide that you're a Christian, I guess.
That's right. Yes, sir. You know, always growing up as a family, you know, was having a nativity scene around in the house, different things. So that was one of my first displays, was getting one of the little blow mold nativity scenes.
Yeah.
And I used to build it up there by the house. Every year I build me a little nativity scene, and I've always had it in my display. And actually several years ago, when I started, you know, doing my drive-through and adding different things, I built a life-size nativity scene that you drive through the barn. I got live
awesome.
animals, and I've got like probably about 80 pieces in my nativity scene.
That's awesome.
And I try to keep, you know, that area just all part of the nativity scene and stuff.
And by the way, what we're showing you on camera, the snippets of this, is not doing it justice. That's why you need to come up here in person. And by the way, since we're mentioning that, you don't walk through this. This is what you can actually stay in the comfort of your vehicle. You can enjoy some beautiful Christmas music on Chad's radio station, right?
Yes, sir. I got a little radio station. You can tune it in. It's like 88.3, and I play Christmas music and stuff. And as mentioned in the drive-through, I always wanted to do a walk-through, but I just don't have a room for it. And so I've done the drive-through, and it's been a blessing, because you know, most people got the kids in the car seats, and they pick the granny up from, you know, wherever they live, or they're older and they can't walk, so they can stay in the comfort of the car. It really is. It's,
so a good idea if you have someone that's not able to walk, and you know, they can come, they can ride through. We go through another section towards the back, and it was a beautiful display of, you know, you just don't see choirs singing like that anymore. So how long have you had that?
Actually, the choir, I probably have had it 8 to 10 years. And the gentleman I spoke earlier about, that was one of those things I call him up and say, hey, I want a choir. And so he made it for me and everything. And so that's been kind of cool. I get a lot of comments on it.
Every opportunity that was going down through there, even with my own kids, they was asking questions, because that gives me an opportunity to say, yeah, you know, this is part of Christmas.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, it's wild, some of the stories I've heard through the years and stuff. And it is all about, as I get older, look at it, you know, it's like, you know, it's like a tradition, you know. And I worked for a girl a few months ago, and she said that she had just had a newborn, and she asked the lady in her church, you know, elderly lady, and the lady said, you need to make traditions, you know, family tradition with your child growing up. And she said, well, I do. We go to see the lights every year. So that was touching, awesome. You know. And,
well, and then beyond all these other things, the lights, the displays, then you also have some live, you have Santa Claus sitting in Santa Claus workshop, and you guys are just seeing a glimpse of what that looks like in real life. It's awesome. Tell me how long you've had that.
Well, actually, before I did the drive-through, you know, I've had a couple people back then say, hey, do you ever have Santa Claus come to visit? You know, I thought, yeah, that'd be kind of cool. So he come and visited a couple times. Well, then I started having him on Friday and Saturday nights. And every time I'd advertise him, it'd be raining or misting rain. And I just had him stand along beside the cars as they drove by. So I thought, I'm going to build me a little stage area, just kind of get him out of the weather. And so I built me a 40 by 70 building. And I've got it fixed up just like it's the elf workshop.
That's awesome. And that's what it is.
Yep, that's something I built it from scratch, and it's, you know, I take pride in that, and it's you know, like I said, a lot of kids get a lot of memories with Santa and there and everything. So it's pretty cool.
Well, Chad, you've done a great job. I appreciate your giving back to the community in this way. You've got some great sponsors. I noticed some of the sponsors along the way. Those help you, I guess, pay for this electric bill, right?
Yeah, the sponsorships, it's kind of funny how they started. Back in the day, before I even thought about doing a drive-through, I was needing a way to, you know, your grandma, granddad, or your parents, you know, you can only ask them for so much money every year. And so I had one gentleman, a real estate guy, asked about doing a sign. And so I put I had a little train in the front yard, and before I built the drive-through. So people was like, hey, we want to get on your train. So after about 3 or 4 years, I had all these signs down through there. So when I opened the drive-through, I spread them out. So actually, that gentleman's still with me. He's been with me over 20-something years.
And we also saw Frosty, right?
Frosty, actually several years ago, wanted some kind of costume, so I rented a Frosty the Snowman costume in Nashville at a costume place. And so I rented it, 3 or 4 times a year. And the next thing you know, after a couple years of that, people was like, hey, is Frosty gonna be here tonight? So I started having him 7 days a week. And once again, thick suit, out in the rain and stuff, I built him a building. And you drive beside it, and he's out there dancing to the cars as they go by. So that's been a big hit.
Chad, tell us the times and how long you're open.
I actually open Thanksgiving night and run it all the way to New Year's Eve. And that is kind of weather permitting. If it's raining a little bit, I turn them on, but if they have a lot of flood and rain or standing water, I don't turn them on. But I do have a website. It's chadswonderwonderland.com, and actually I'm on Facebook. So if you want to come down, you're welcome to get on there. I do charge $15 a car. And if you have any questions, you can always go to our Facebook page and like it, and then we post stuff all the time. Or if it's going to be rained out, I'll post it, that type of thing.